Hi, Chana Mason here, and in today's video we're going to be exploring how energy follows focus. So I don't know about you, but personally something I struggle with on a daily basis is getting myself into an emotional rut by looking for absolutely everything that's wrong. Looking for how something's broken in my home, or how something's broken in my relationships, or how something's broken in me, and how I'm not smart enough or good enough or healthy enough or skinny enough or million other enoughs that my mind seems to come up with. My mind loves to look for absolutely everything that's wrong. And Dave and I had the opportunity a few months ago to attend Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny seminar. And during the seminar, Tony reiterated something we've heard him say before, and that is that where focus goes, energy flows. That what you choose to focus on, that's where all of your mental and emotional energy is going to go. And when we choose to focus on what's wrong and what's broken and what's not enough, then all of our energy is just going to be stuck in that like dark place of lacking. And we're just going to be in a sinking place. It's not very energizing to look at everything that's going wrong. Now, something else that he pointed out, which was really, really helpful for me, is that he said that our minds are looking to help us do two things. One is to help us survive, and the other is to help us thrive. Now, we have to remember that if we're not alive, thriving becomes irrelevant. So if you have a corpse, you can't be happy. So it's really important to survive in order to have all of the beautiful emotions that we're looking to have. And because of that, the body's always going to be looking to make sure that we have absolutely everything that we need and that we're safe. And safety often means that we're looking out for danger. So if you think about a cop, cops are constantly looking for dangerous people, dangerous situations, because they're looking to keep us safe. And we really appreciate that they do that. So our minds kind of have an inner cop that's always looking out. Are there bad guys? Are there things that aren't working, to make sure that we're protected? And they're partly trying to protect us physically, and the mind is also trying to protect us socially, because we really do need a social network in order to survive, particularly out in nature. That being said, we don't need to survive all that much from the grave danger of somebody not liking our Facebook video, for example. If you guys don't like my video, it's really not a big deal. So I could sit there and nitpick on every single thing that didn't go right, and I could go into a total panic. But the reality is I'll probably be okay. What's more significant in my day-to-day life is not whether I've survived. What ends up being more relevant to me is whether I'm thriving. Because my survival, I'm probably okay. There aren't all that many dangers in my life. But my health, my mental health and my happiness is always at risk if I put a lot of energy into trying to survive. So I literally have to take my head and shift it over and say, I gotta focus on the good stuff. What's working? What's sweet? What's beautiful? What's precious? What's amazing? What can I be grateful for? And it really takes mental effort to shift your head away from survival mentality and towards thriving mentality. And last night, the Masons had our monthly pizza movie night, except because it's Passover, we did matzah pizza, and it was so awesome to me making matzah on our homemade soft matzahs, homemade marinara, vegan cheese, and tons of awesome veggies on top. And we sat down to watch It's a Wonderful Life, which is one of Dave's favorite films, and I've only seen once, and it was like 2 decades ago, so I didn't even remember it. And what was so amazing about this film is that it's all about this idea of focus. George Bailey, the main character, is having a really hard day. And because one really bad thing happens to him, his mind just starts spiraling out and looking for everything else that's wrong in his life. And because he does that, then he goes into a negative emotional state. And in that negative emotional state, he treats everyone like crap and barks at everyone and bites at everyone, gets his kids crying and his wife in shock. And because he does that, then he feels really guilty about himself, and then he realizes he's ruining all of his relationships and no one's going to want to have anything to do with him. And then he's like, you know what? Better that I be dead than alive, because I'm clearly a mess and I'm horrible and I ruin everything, because all of his focus is only on what's not working. And then, thank God, an angel comes into his life and shows him. He literally takes his head and he points it in this direction. He says, no, look over here. Look what a huge impact you've had in the lives of other people. Look at people's lives you've saved, lives you've changed. Your children don't even exist if you didn't exist. Look at your wife, how much happier she is because she married you. And look how miserable she'd be otherwise. And he helps him to focus on all of the amazing things that he has in his life. And once he does that, he realizes like, oh my gosh, my life is so amazing. My life is so precious. And he comes back to his life and he like kisses his children like crazy and kisses his wife like crazy. And from that very, very high emotional state, suddenly all of these blessings come his way. And because of all the incredible impact he's had on other people, they want to give back to him. And all the problems that he had or that he thought he had either become a lot smaller in his perception or actually get healed and fixed by the end of the film. It's such a beautiful film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you do. And if you can have it with matzo pizza, even better. But more importantly, it reminded me of how important it is to simply shift my head and force myself to focus on the good, which is why so many religious practices and spiritual practices and mental health counselors recommend that people keep a gratitude journal, to just write down, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, and every day come up with more and more things that you're grateful for and write them down. It trains your mind to look for the good, and in so doing, you just become a happier, healthier, and more centered person. So I want to bless you that in any way that you can, at any time of day that you can, whether it's through journaling or through just consciousness or in your meditation practice, that you choose to focus on things that you're grateful for and you choose to look for the good. Even the little tiny flower that grows in the crack on the sidewalk, which is one of the most favorite things I love to look at in the world, is a sign of how the world is so precious and beautiful and just wants to grow and just wants to heal. Wishing you a beautiful day. Want to experience more vibrance, clarity, and joy in your life? Book a guaranteed session at chanamason.com/joy.